such a big experience that, wow, like it changed me as an artist. Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. My name is Shalene and today I'm going to be going over 3 things that I really love about being an Illustrator. The first thing I want to highlight about being an Illustrator is how much freedom that I have. To be honest, I've always known since I was a child that I never wanted to have one job, and I felt like I wanted to have several jobs throughout my life. I've always known that, and it's never really been something I felt I couldn't do. And there are 2 things that I always found myself saying. I really want to be studying Korean right now, and I really want to be drawing. I could be working on my drawing right now. I could be working on my portfolio. I could be working on my book. I could be working on someone's book right now. Those are the 2 things I've always come back to, and those are my 2 passions. The first thing what I mentioned was the free time, and being an illustrator allows me to make my own schedules and to work whenever I can, whenever I want to. I love that about my job. I love that about my career, and I thank God every time, because I hate, and I say it, I really hate the feeling of being somewhere working, knowing that I could be doing something else as it pertains to my job, because for some strange reason, I always felt it inside me that, I have this song, I have this book, I have this thing I need to do. It burned me inside. As much as I enjoyed working in educational setting or just at any other job, I've always struggled seeing myself as a part of a vision long term beyond the short term because of that. And being an illustrator gives me the privilege of learning other things in order to become a better artist, because I heard this piece of advice 5 or 7 years ago. I was listening to a podcast. I'm not sure who said it, but if you do know who said it, please let me know, because it changed my life. And this artist said that in order to become a good artist, you have to have more life experience. At the time, I considered myself competent enough that if I thought of something, I could at least sketch it down. And it's not about being the best at it. I always felt do I have the basic skills? And I really did feel like I did. But my challenge was, when he said that, I really had to look at my life and see the things that I had done. And I realized I hadn't done a lot of things, or I felt like I had done a lot of things at the time, but the scale of what that meant for me was a little different. Really contemplating, what haven't I done? And me being Christian, living my life in a way where I was earnestly trying to do my best before God in physical things, like the way I lived, the way I dressed, the way I spoke, and even just how I thought, honestly, down to my thoughts. I really felt after everything I've gone through, I still haven't lived, and that's why I'm not the artist that I want to be yet. After going to South Korea and living there for a year, teaching English there for a year, I can honestly say that that experience genuinely transformed my outlook as an artist and my perspective. And I remember reflecting on what the gentleman had said, because up to that point, I had went away for the first time and lived in another province. Right after that, I went straight to Korea for a year. So it was back to back. I had these 2 out of home experiences. I had always lived at home. I had always been with family, and I always had that feeling of everyone kind of checks if you're in line with kind of the thing. And until I left home is when I realized this is who I am, and this is who I choose to be when I'm not around the people who reinforce those ideas, the ideas I thought were important. So going to Korea showed me who I was and what was important to me, and why I choose to live the way that I do, and things that I don't want to do anymore. When I reflected on that artist's teachings, or that quote, or what he shared, I was like, I guess, you know what? I am better because of that, because there are experiences and hardships and joyful times that I've gone through. It was such a big experience that, wow, it changed me as an artist. And what it actually gave me was something different than just art skills. It gave me meat. It gave me actually an identity, clarity. That kind of highlights why, one, being an illustrator and the freedom it gives me is one of the things that I love about being an illustrator. Like, I can do anything. I can work from anywhere. As long as there's electricity, I can essentially work from anywhere. It's like circular. Just like the more experience I have, the better my art becomes. That's something I really treasure about being an illustrator. Definitely. The second thing that I really love about being an illustrator is the power to influence and create like God does. And it kind of sounds really cheesy. I can see how it sounds cheesy, but you have to hear me out for a second. The way I've come to kind of like rest in being an illustrator is that I come from a place in my own childhood, in my own upbringing, in my own thoughts that I repeated to myself that, if I become something like a therapist, something that's reputable to society, my value as a woman, as a person, will go up because I worked really hard to attain a career that's really hard to get and not everybody gets into, and that's really respected because I have all this knowledge. So I should be making a lot of money and I should be well situated and I won't be in poverty and I won't have all of these things because I held those careers to such a high esteem. Me being an artist now humbles me. It humbles me so much at the ability for me to choose to bring forth a thought in my mind into physical reality. Like when I really sit on that, when I really sit on it, it's mind blowing. It's crazy because it made me really see that I was doubting the woman that God was making me to be by feeling like I needed to put it inside of other careers that would help make me feel like I was something. And it's so interesting that God chose art, one of my first loves in life, to kind of like show me that my potential is endless, where my place of, always searching for something came from. Because it wasn't until I accepted, I'm gonna be an artist and this is just what I'm gonna do. Until I accepted that, I realized I could do anything I wanted. It's not that I felt like I couldn't do it before, but I always felt like I had this time limit. I always felt like I had to do it before I was 22, before I was 28, before I was 30, before this time, before I had kids, before I got married, I always felt like something had to happen. And it wasn't until I really rested inside of being an artist that I seen that, oh my gosh, like I can do anything. In my mind, like I can, if I want to design a new couch, then I will literally just design it. I feel like I have more power now being able to influence my life, knowing that I can make anything. And the only person stopping me is me, or of course resources, access to resources and all those other things. But it doesn't mean I can't start it and get the help that I need to get there. I don't have to strive to become anything else anymore. Like anything else I do is because I've accepted that I can do it, not because I feel the need to do it to define me. And I love that. I really love that. The third thing that I really love about being an illustrator is being able to be a part of history. The story I wanted to share with you all was a story that was shared to me from my niece, and my niece told me something really beautiful. In 2021, during the pandemic in February, which was Black History Month, all of her students were invited to share a piece by someone that they remember, that they want to remember for Black History Month, and people that they want to share, essentially. And my niece came home after school and she's like, Auntie, I wanted to tell you that for Black History Month, I chose to share you. Because for Black History Month, we remember a lot of people who are changing the world, who changed the world, who affect the world. She's like, why don't we celebrate those who are living too? And so she chose to share me. And honestly, that was one of the most defining moments in my life where I realized, oh my gosh, like this is what, changing a generation looks like. This is what breaking generational curses looks like. This is what being consistent with the call that God has on your life looks like. And I didn't have to hear that. I share that because that's what we do naturally for other people. So being an illustrator in this time has really blessed me, because I had such a great privilege to take part in stories and activities that will, whether it impacts one child, I'm so honored that I got to take part in that, because just simply of the fact of it doesn't have to be me, but I was allowed for it to be me, to share my gift with them. And so I'm really thankful that I can take part in the retelling of history and the history of other people's lives, being able to use this God-given gift that God's given me, this patience for art, or this commitment to it and this vision for it. Lord, I'm so thankful for that. That concludes the 3 things that kind of highlight why I love being an illustrator. Thank you so much for tuning in. I actually shared like nuggets from some other videos. One video was my journey to becoming a full-time illustrator. I'll link that. So that concludes this video. Those were the 3 things that I love about being an illustrator. And so if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give this video a like and leave a message down in the comments about what are the 3 things you love about being an artist. If you're an illustrator too, let me know what you love. And you can find me on social media if you really want to reach out, specifically on Instagram these days. Well, yeah, specifically Instagram or email. So let me know. See ya.